Hello, fellow Patreons. This is Jay, and thanks for checking us out here and contributing to the BBR community. As promised, here is the Deer News from February 9th, 2020, presented here on Patreon as part of your package, independent from the podcast and completely ad-free.
Here's Jim Keller with the Deer News.
Our first story, New Hampshire dad suffocates coyote with bare hands after it attacked toddler. This story is from the Fox News website. A hero New Hampshire father suffocated a coyote to death with his bare hands after the beast attacked his child on Monday, police said. Ian O'Reilly was walking with his wife and 3 kids on a trail near Jude's Pond in Kensington around 11 a.m. when the wild animal jumped out of the woods and grabbed the 2-year-old child by the jacket. That's when the dad went into protection mode, kicking the coyote before choking it, said Kensington Police Chief Scott Kane. O'Reilly told local outlet WFXT that he was running on instinct and adrenaline when he wrestled the beast to the ground, eventually killing it after a 10-minute skirmish. There was no interest in it going away, so ultimately I had to make the decision to become the aggressor and jumped on it, attacked it, and was able to get it to the ground, O'Reilly said. When I was able to get on top of it, I put my hands around its snout so it wasn't able to attack me anymore, he recalled. From there, I shoved its head into the snow and then eventually was able to expire it through suffocation, he said. Ultimately, one hand on its windpipe and one hand on its snout did the trick. The dad was bitten in the arm and chest and is being treated for rabies as a precaution. The animal didn't break the toddler's skin thanks to his heavy-duty snowsuit. He's off the charts again. This deer made another amazing journey. This story is from the Mississippi Clarion Ledger website and was reported by Brian Broom. Buck number 27 stunned researchers last year when he traveled over 13 miles from his capture site and set up shop at another location for the winter. This year, the highly mobile deer did it again, and another buck in the study group may have traveled even farther. He was originally darted in August of 2018, said Colby Henderson, Mississippi State University graduate student. After we woke up, he just hightailed it out of there. He moved 13 miles. He stayed there until February and then came back to the same property we darted him on. The buck was part of a study conducted by MSU and the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. It began in 2016 when researchers selected 55 mature bucks in Madison and Yazoo counties near the Big Black River. Each buck was captured and then fitted with a GPS tracking collar and ear tags. The goal of the study was to monitor the buck's movement during the 2017 and 2018 deer seasons to see how they react to hunting pressure. Henderson said researchers involved in the study initially thought the extreme movement was caused by the adverse reaction to the capture because while some other bucks in the study exhibited mobile behavior and had 2 home ranges, none had dual home ranges that far apart. On average, Henderson said, other dual ranges were 3 to 5 miles apart. But then number 27 did the unexpected again. Almost 1 year to the day from when he was captured, he made the same journey to the area he spent the winter last year. Now researchers feel he truly has 2 home ranges that far apart, and the fact he vacated the capture site immediately after his capture was merely a coincidence. Buck number 27 is among the 10 deer with active collars, and researchers encourage hunters to harvest any collared buck they encounter and return the collars because 90% of the data collected is stored in them. So if you see one of these deers, don't hesitate to harvest it, and please return the collar. Unintended consequences, the comedy and tragedy of smartphones in the deer woods. This story is from the February 3rd National Deer Alliance newsletter email. In a December issue of our On Watch newsletter, we asked the NDA members to answer a few questions about their phone use when hunting and whether or not it has cost members an opportunity at a deer. The results, although may not be surprising, speak for themselves. Almost 90% of survey applicants use their phones in the field, and 60% admit to using it to pass time during slow periods. Overwhelmingly, most participants noted that they pack their phone primarily as a safety tool to stay connected to the outside world in case of emergency. Similarly, many participants noted that they use their phones to call for help to retrieve downed game. Still, some noted that they use their phones to communicate with fellow hunters, replacing the popular walkie-talkies of the past. Several participants also mentioned that they use smartphone mapping applications to navigate and mark their hunting locations, while others admitted to using phones to conduct business while on stand or simply to pass the time when the action is slow. But when asked if phone use ever impacted the hunt negatively, the majority, almost 85%, claimed that it had not. The NDA is a little skeptical of this claim and suspect that either NDA members are highly vigilant while on stand or they have the natural gift of excluding certain details while recounting their hunting adventures. Still, the NDA did hear from some participants who had amusing and even heartbreaking stories of missed opportunities due to using a cell phone while hunting. One common theme was ringing phone or buzzing text just as a shooter buck showed up on the range, while many of the other participants admitted to looking up from the screen to find a deer that had seemingly appeared out of thin air. To read a couple of stories members shared, go to www.nationaldeeralliance.com and join. Membership is free, and it includes a subscription to their weekly On Watch newsletter. Keep an eye on your inboxes every Wednesday morning for a new issue featuring a news survey. That concludes this week's edition of the Big Buck Registry's Deer News. Special thanks to Tim Donzie, Daniel Applebaum, and John Geis for leads on stories this week. For links to the stories featured this week, please check our show notes at www.bigbuckregistry.com. If you have any ideas for future topics or have any questions about any of these topics, please email me at jim@bigbuckregistry.com. For the Big Buck Registry, this is Jim Keller with the Deer News.
Thanks again for joining us here on Patreon. If you like the content you're hearing without ads, please tell a fellow hunter about us. The stronger this community becomes, the more we can do to protect and preserve our hunting heritage. Be safe, shoot straight, and we'll see you in the deer woods.